This is such an incredibly hard clip for me to watch. I want to share it with you and then share with you why it's difficult for me.
Did you sign something so that Manny could switch to French?
I did.
You knew that I wanted him to learn Spanish.
I also know you can't force a kid to be interested in something that he's not. That's why I have a picture of Mitchell and his prom date shaking hands.
It would be nice for someone to care what I think for a change.
You should also know that I hired a new swimming instructor, but don't worry. She's got the same broad shoulders plus a mustache.
So all this is because you're jealous? I can't believe that you're being so what is the word?
Selfish, pig-headed.
Really?
Her words, not mine.
Do you know how frustrating it is to have to translate everything in my head before I say it? To have people laugh in my face because I'm struggling to find the words? You should try talking in my shoes from 1 mile.
I think you meant...
I know what I meant to mean. Do you even know how smart I am in Spanish? Of course you don't. For once, it would be nice to speak to someone in my own language, in my own home.
All right, so this clip actually brings up a ton of emotion for me because over the last 14 years, I've been working with people like you and like Gloria, who are having to speak English in their as a second language, that they are struggling to communicate, that they are incredibly brilliant, and they have so much that they know and understand, and the experiences they've had and the expertise that they have, but there's a block. There's a barrier that's in the way between who they are and what they know and what they can offer us and the world, and that barrier of communication, of English communication, that prevents them from being able to really share that brilliance. And I'm sure you are the same, but I have talked with hundreds of non-native English speakers through my program and in my many years of teaching the American English accent. And they have trusted me enough to share their stories. And it's such a struggle. You're doing a really great job. I'm really, really proud of you and how hard you're working. And that the challenges that you are overcoming as you are working to speak English, to be able to overcome this incredible barrier and this incredible challenge. So many of you have moved to an English-speaking country, and maybe in your native country you were, had a ton of responsibility or this career that you had to leave just to come to an English-speaking country and have to really start over, to really start building those English communication skills and be able to build up your career again. And I can't even imagine how difficult that is. And I just applaud you for what you're doing. What you're doing is hard. It's very, very difficult. To not be understood, to not feel like you have a voice is an incredible challenge. That is a very real need we have as humans, is to be understood, to feel like other people understand who we are and to be able to appreciate that. And I just want to stand here and say, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing and how hard you're working and the struggle that it is for you and all of the obstacles that you're up against. English is difficult. It is a very difficult language to learn and to improve and perfect. That's the motivation that I have to do what I'm doing here, is that I see how brilliant you are. I see what you are and who you are. And I want to be able to release that into the world and help you release that. And the work that we do of removing that communication barrier is so important to me because it unlocks you. It gives you the freedom and flexibility to do what you do best. A couple of examples that I have from my students, very powerful examples. One is from a student named Gamze. And she was a doctor in her home country of Turkey. She was a pediatrician. She worked with children. Because of political issues, she came over to the United States with her family, and she couldn't practice medicine here in the US because of licensing. She had to kind of get the right credentials and licensing to be able to do that. But first she had to learn English. She had to really get proficient in English. So she spent 2 years just studying and working and practicing and doing as much as she could to be able to get those communication skills to the level that she needed to pass this English proficiency test and apply for her license here in the US. Now, the first time she took it, she didn't pass. Her proficiency scores were not high enough. She kind of was below this acceptable level. She was high enough in all of the content. She knew her stuff as a doctor. She was brilliant as a doctor. She is brilliant as a doctor. But her English pronunciation skills, her accent, her English just wasn't quite there. Okay, that's when she found me and my program. We worked on pronunciation. We worked on learning the rules. We worked on opening up her ears to the sounds of American English so she could hear them and really recognize what she was doing wrong. She was able to practice and get the repetition and change the habits in the way that she was speaking English. This took time. It took a lot of practice. But Gamze really knows how to work hard. She's proven that through her life. She has grit, she has determination, she has a ton of ambition, and she just applied all of that was inside of her to improving her pronunciation, improving her accent, and the way that she communicated in English. I was thrilled with an email that she then sent me a few months later after she completed my program, where she took this English proficiency test and she passed. So you can see kind of the difference in her scores here. And then her email. And I'm just going to read a little bit of the email that she sent. She said, "Hello, Annie. I'm very excited to let you know that I have passed. I raised my spoken English score from lower performance to higher performance in 3 months. I could have not done it without you, your course, and the communication class. Thank you very much. I love you and your enthusiasm for your job." And she attached the results in that email. I'm so thrilled for Gamze, and really what this just means is that it's possible. It's possible for Gamze, it's possible for you. If you are feeling stuck by that barrier of communication, there is a way to get through that. There is a way to overcome that barrier so that you can really live in the brilliance that is you and be able to reach that potential that you have. Now, the next example is a student named Koji. And Koji is from Brazil, and he grew up in Brazil. He got a job at Google in Brazil, in his home country, and eventually worked his way up to be able to move to the United States, to San Francisco, and to be able to work with Google here in the US. As he came to the US, he recognized that his English wasn't nearly what he needed it to be, and that he was really struggling in that position because of this barrier that he was experiencing in his communication. So that's when Koji, or really his managers, found me in my program, and we dove in and helped Koji. We dove in and helped him really be able to learn the skills necessary to remove that barrier, for him to gain the skill in his English pronunciation and especially the confidence that he needed in his communication skills in English. And as he did, he was able to go on to have higher positions as a head of design there at Google. He moved on to another company. He was head of design at Lyft. He's head of design in a new startup company that he's really excited about. I also love the fact that Koji not only developed this confidence to be able to excel in his career, but he started a podcast. And so he is using his voice and amplifying his voice for thousands of other people to learn from him and his brilliance, because he really knew his stuff. He's a sharp, very, very talented individual, and it wasn't until he was really able to remove that barrier that he was able to explode into that brilliance. So I'm so excited for both Gamze and Koji and the hundreds and thousands of other students that are going through and working on their American English pronunciation, their accent, so that they can build that confidence, build that skill, so that you can really step into that voice and that power that is yours. Now, if you're just at the beginning of this process, then I encourage you to go check out this video, 3 easy tips to quickly improve your spoken English. This is more of the foundation of where I like to lead my students before we start building the other skills of pronunciation and accent.